Wait, before you scroll past this, stop for just 1 second. Somewhere right now, someone whose heart is quietly tied to yours is thinking about you. Not in passing, not by accident. They are thinking about you in a way that feels heavier than usual tonight, and something in you already knows this is true, because that's exactly why you stopped scrolling. If you feel that little pull in your chest right now, drop the word yes below, or a simple heart emoji, just to confirm you're receiving this. It only takes a second, and it helps this message find the people who truly need to hear it tonight. This message is for you. And if it found you at this exact moment, in the middle of everything else you could be watching right now, maybe that isn't random. Maybe someone connected to your story has been trying to reach you in a way they don't fully understand themselves yet. Maybe there are feelings they've carried quietly for far too long. Maybe there are words they've practiced in their head more times than they'd ever admit, but never found the courage to say out loud. And maybe tonight, in this very moment, they want you to know something so real that their heart simply can't stay quiet about it anymore. Stay with this for a minute because your heart needs to hear it. Welcome to the Angel's Message for You original channel. Please check the channel name carefully. It's Angel's Message for You. This is our only official channel. Beware of copycat and fake channels. Stay connected to the original source to receive authentic angel messages and true blessings. Before we continue, a heartfelt thank you to Denise, Hazel, Carmen Adele, and Debbie for sowing a seed for Soulmate through your Ko-Fi super thanks. May this seed return to you multiplied with soulmate blessings, divine protection, love, well-being, and abundance. May the angels guide and watch over you every step of your journey. Thank you for your beautiful support. People are complicated when it comes to feelings. We often hide the things that matter most, simply because the things that matter most are also the things that scare us the most. We hide affection because affection makes us feel exposed. We hide longing because longing shows how much we actually care. We hide admiration because admiration reveals just how much someone means to us. But no matter how calm or unbothered someone looks on the outside, real feelings eventually rise to the surface. They don't stay buried forever. They start demanding to be noticed. And maybe the person connected to your journey has reached exactly that point now. Maybe they're realizing that what they feel for you has grown into something they can no longer pretend isn't there. Don't scroll past this. Your heart needs this right now. Somewhere tonight, someone connected to your life is thinking about you more than they expected to. They're replaying conversations that once felt ordinary but now feel like they meant so much more. They remember the way you smiled. They remember your kindness. They remember your patience. They remember what it felt like to feel safe with you, accepted exactly as they were. And slowly, they're understanding something powerful. Your presence in their life was never small. It was real. It was meaningful. It changed something in them, even if they didn't say it out loud at the time. Listen closely because your heart needs this right now. Some people spend years telling themselves that certain connections belong in the past. They tell themselves they've moved on. They stay busy. They fill their days with responsibilities and distractions so they don't have to sit with what they actually feel. But real connections don't disappear just because people stop talking about them. Real connections stay alive, quietly, in the background of a person's life. They shape decisions. They spark reflection. They remind people what genuine care actually feels like. Maybe the person tied to your story has been feeling exactly that. Maybe, despite everything they've tried, you still live somewhere inside their heart in a way they never expected. This message is for you because maybe they finally understand your value. Maybe they want you to know your kindness mattered. Maybe they want you to know your patience left a mark on them that never faded. Maybe they want you to know that being around you gave them a kind of peace they've struggled to find anywhere else. Maybe they never said any of this before. Maybe fear kept them quiet. Maybe uncertainty made silence feel safer. But silence only lasts so long. Eventually, what's true in the heart becomes louder than the fear that's been holding it back. Don't scroll. Your heart needs this right now. Picture someone lying awake late at night, unable to stop thinking about someone who keeps showing up in their memories. They remember your encouragement. They remember your compassion. They remember the way you listened without judging them. They remember feeling emotionally safe around you, like they could finally exhale. They remember the way your presence made hard days feel just a little bit easier. And slowly, they start to realize what they actually experienced with you. It was authenticity. It was trust. It was emotional safety. And emotional safety is one of the rarest things a person can ever be given. Listen to this because your heart needs it right now. People often don't fully see how meaningful someone is while that person is still close. We assume there will always be more time, more conversations, more chances to say what we feel. But life has a way of teaching harder lessons than that. It teaches us that honest hearts are rare, that emotional maturity is rare, that finding someone who brings peace instead of chaos is something worth noticing before it's gone. Maybe the person connected to you is learning that lesson right now. Maybe they're realizing that what the two of you shared was something they can't just look past anymore. This message is for you, because maybe you've spent a long time wondering if anyone truly saw your worth. Maybe you've questioned whether your loyalty mattered. Maybe you've wondered if your patience actually made a difference to anyone. But real, authentic people always leave a mark, because authenticity is unforgettable. Emotional safety is unforgettable. Genuine compassion is unforgettable. People remember who stood by them in hard seasons. They remember who stayed kind through difficult moments. They remember who made them feel comfort instead of confusion. Those memories become the quiet reference point for everything they look for afterward, in every relationship that follows. Maybe the person connected to your journey is being guided by exactly those memories right now. Don't scroll. Your heart needs this right now. Maybe they want you to know they miss conversations they never thought they'd miss. Maybe they want you to know they compare new experiences to the ones they shared with you, even when they try not to. Maybe they want you to know that despite every attempt to move forward with logic, their heart keeps drifting back to memories of you. Maybe they want you to know that your honesty pushed them to be more honest with themselves. Maybe they want you to know your presence shaped their growth in ways they still can't fully explain. Listen to this because your heart needs it right now. People change emotionally as they grow. What feels important at one point in life can look completely different years later. Sometimes we need time to see what really mattered. Sometimes we need distance to understand real impact. Sometimes we need quiet to appreciate the value of a meaningful conversation. Maybe the person connected to your story has finally gained that perspective. Maybe they're recognizing that your emotional steadiness gave them something they didn't know they needed. Maybe they're appreciating your strength now more than they ever did before. Maybe they're realizing your kindness was never weakness, it was strength the whole time. This message is for you because real connections change people. They push us to face fears we've been avoiding. They inspire honesty. They remind us what a genuine relationship actually feels like. Maybe the person in your story needed that reminder. Maybe your presence helped them notice things about themselves they had been ignoring for a long time. Maybe your honesty showed them that meaningful connections deserve appreciation, not just assumption. Don't scroll. Your heart needs this right now. Think for a second about your own journey. Think about everything you've already gotten through. Think about the nights when doubt sat heavy on your chest. Think about the moments when uncertainty tried to shake your confidence. And yet, through all of it, you kept growing. You found strength you didn't know you had. You learned patience. You learned to set boundaries. You learned self-respect. You came to understand that your worth doesn't change, no matter how long it takes someone else to notice it. That growth matters because it shows wisdom. It shows emotional maturity. It shows someone who understands their own value, with or without anyone else's approval. Maybe you've noticed small signs lately. Maybe your dreams have felt more vivid than usual. Maybe a certain song keeps showing up at just the right moment. Maybe you keep glancing at the clock and seeing numbers like 11:11 or 2:22 or 5:55 more often than feels like coincidence. Whether you take these as spiritual signs or just small moments of noticing, they can still be gentle reminders. They remind you that change happens slowly, that understanding takes time, that all people grow at their own pace. Maybe the person connected to your story is growing right now, in ways they haven't shown yet. Maybe they're finally facing feelings they used to avoid. Maybe they're understanding that meaningful people deserve to be appreciated. Maybe they're realizing that staying quiet eventually becomes more painful than just telling the truth. Listen to this because your heart needs it right now. No matter what someone else chooses to say or not say, your worth stays exactly the same. You were already enough before this message found you, and you'll still be enough long after it. You deserve honesty. You deserve real communication. You deserve someone who puts in effort, not just someone who shows up when it's convenient. Keep protecting your peace. Keep nurturing your dreams. Keep honoring how far you've come. Keep becoming someone who values honesty, emotional maturity, and self-respect, because those things will always matter more than temporary attention. If someone connected to you truly wants you to know something right now, maybe it isn't just that they think about you. Maybe it's that they finally understand what your presence meant. Maybe it's that they appreciate your kindness in a way they never said out loud. Maybe it's that they admire your strength. Maybe it's that they see your value now in a way they never quite saw before. And maybe they're finally realizing something simple but powerful. Honest hearts are rare. Emotional safety is priceless. Real connection deserves honesty. And some people leave a mark so deep that no amount of time, distance, or silence can ever fully erase them from someone's heart. Don't scroll. Listen to this because your heart needs it right now. The message this person wants you to hear has been waiting for the right moment to come out. For a long time, they told themselves silence was easier, safer, less complicated. They believed that hiding certain feelings would somehow protect them from being vulnerable. They thought enough time would quiet what they felt. They thought enough distractions would eventually make it fade. They thought enough distance would let them walk away without looking back. But some feelings just don't disappear. Some connections keep existing beneath the surface, no matter how deeply someone tries to bury them. And maybe this person is discovering that truth right now. Dear soul, before we continue, I'd like to invite you to do something truly meaningful for your soulmate journey. The bond between soulmates is precious, and at times, it can feel vulnerable to negativity, envy, or the evil eye from the world around us, even when no harm is intended. If your heart is calling you to cover this connection with an extra layer of love, faith, and protection, you can sow your seed for your soulmate through Ko-Fi Super Thanks. You'll find the Ko-Fi link in the video description and the pinned comment. This simple act can become a heartfelt expression of your intention. inviting the angels to watch over your soulmate connection. Surround it with divine light and guide it as it continues to grow in the right time and in the right way. If you feel led to do so, thank you from the bottom of my heart. May your kindness return to you multiplied, and may your soulmate journey be filled with peace, hope, and divine guidance. Listen to this because your heart needs it right now. We often don't notice how much someone shapes our life until we experience life without them nearby. When someone consistently gives us understanding, patience, and emotional safety, we start to take it for granted, simply because it feels so natural coming from a genuine heart. We assume it will always be there, but life eventually creates moments of reflection. It creates situations that make us compare experiences. It gives us the space to finally understand what actually mattered all along. Maybe the person connected to your story has entered exactly that kind of season. Maybe they're understanding your importance in a way they never fully understood before. Don't scroll. Your heart needs this right now. Somewhere tonight, someone tied to your journey is replaying memories of you. They remember conversations that brought them peace. They remember feeling truly understood. They remember how you supported them without expecting anything back. They remember your kindness. They remember your strength. They remember how you stayed compassionate even through hard times. And suddenly, they realize your presence represented something rare. It represented honesty. It represented trust. It represented steadiness. It represented a kind of connection they've struggled to find anywhere else since. This message is for you because maybe they finally see what they once overlooked. Maybe they appreciate your loyalty now. Maybe your patience left a mark that never really faded. Maybe your honesty created a kind of comfort they still remember today. Maybe they never said any of this before because they weren't sure of themselves yet. Maybe fear kept them quiet. Maybe they simply weren't emotionally ready to understand how deep it really went. But growth changes perspective. It brings people back to old memories with new understanding. Maybe that's exactly what's happening for them right now. Listen to this because your heart needs it right now. People often chase excitement, thinking excitement equals happiness. They chase intensity because intensity feels powerful in the moment. But eventually, they learn that intensity and peace aren't the same thing. Excitement fades, novelty fades, but emotional safety stays. Trust stays. People remember who made them feel accepted exactly as they were. They remember who gave them confidence during uncertain times. They remember who brought comfort instead of confusion. Maybe the person tied to your story is finally understanding that difference now. Don't scroll. Your heart needs this right now. Picture someone lying awake late at night, unable to stop thinking about someone who still lives in their memories. They remember your encouragement. They remember how you listened without judging. They remember your emotional wisdom. They remember the calm you brought into hard situations. They remember feeling safe around you. And slowly, they understand something deep. Your impact on their life went far beyond ordinary moments. Your connection shaped their growth. Your honesty inspired their own reflection. Your presence meant something real. This message is for you because genuine people shape lives simply by being themselves. They encourage honesty. They inspire growth. They show others what a healthy connection actually feels like. They remind people that real relationships can feel peaceful instead of exhausting. Maybe the person in your story needed exactly that reminder. Maybe they needed time and life experience to finally see it clearly. Listen to this because your heart needs it right now. Maybe you've spent years wondering if anyone truly appreciated your kindness. Maybe you've questioned whether your loyalty was ever noticed. Maybe you've wondered if your compassion left any lasting impression at all. But genuine people always leave a mark, because authenticity is unforgettable. Emotional safety is unforgettable. Real compassion is unforgettable. People remember who supported them through uncertain seasons. They remember who stayed patient through hard times. They remember who created space where they felt safe being vulnerable. Those experiences become the quiet standard for everything that follows. Maybe someone connected to your journey is being guided by exactly those memories right now. Don't scroll. Your heart needs this right now. Maybe they want you to know they regret the moments they stayed quiet when honesty could have brought clarity. Maybe they think about chances they let slip by. Maybe they want you to know that even through everything since, your presence still lives somewhere in their heart. Maybe they admire your strength. Maybe your ability to keep growing despite hard things reflects a kind of inner strength that isn't common. Listen to this because your heart needs it right now. People grow emotionally over time. They build awareness through experience. They gain perspective through reflection. Sometimes people need distance to understand what mattered. Sometimes they need hard seasons to appreciate steadiness. Sometimes they need quiet to recognize the value of a real conversation. Maybe the person connected to your story has finally gained that awareness. Maybe they're realizing your emotional steadiness gave them something they never had to ask for, something they only now know they needed. Maybe they're appreciating your honesty on a deeper level than before. Maybe they're understanding that the peace you brought was something they underestimated at the time. This message is for you because real connections create transformation. They push people to face fears they've been avoiding. They reveal old patterns. They inspire gratitude. They remind people what genuine understanding actually feels like. Maybe the person in your story is going through exactly that transformation right now. Maybe they're recognizing your influence on their life was never an accident. Maybe they're finally appreciating the wisdom and care you carried. While there's still time to say so, don't scroll. Your heart needs this right now. Think again about your own path. Think about everything you've already come through. Think about the moments uncertainty tried to shake your confidence. Think about the nights unanswered questions kept your mind busy. Yet through all of it, you kept evolving. You built resilience. You built patience. You set boundaries. You learned self-respect. You came to understand that your happiness can't depend entirely on someone else's timing. That growth matters because it reflects wisdom. It shows emotional maturity. It shows someone who understands their own worth. Maybe you've noticed small signs again lately. Maybe your dreams feel more vivid. Maybe certain songs tied to meaningful memories keep showing up out of nowhere. Maybe repeating numbers keep catching your eye more than feels like coincidence. Whether you read these as spiritual or just as small moments worth noticing, they can still gently remind you that change happens slowly, and that all people, grow in their own time. Maybe the person connected to your journey is growing right now. Maybe they're finally facing feelings they've avoided for a long time. Maybe they're understanding that meaningful people deserve to be appreciated while they're still here. Maybe they're realizing that emotional truth eventually grows louder than silence. Don't scroll. Listen to this because your heart needs it right now. There are messages that come through words. There are messages that come through actions. And then there are messages that travel quietly through the heart for months, sometimes years, before they finally ask to be spoken. This message is for you because someone connected to your story has been carrying something inside them for far too long. They've tried to ignore it. They've tried to explain it away. They've tried to bury it under responsibilities and routines and distractions. But no matter how far they tried to move on, part of them kept returning to the same realization. Part of them kept returning to you. And maybe now, they've reached the point where staying silent just isn't possible anymore. Listen to this because your heart needs it right now. Please wait. Before we continue, your angels are asking me to pause for a moment. Because someone listening has been carrying a quiet burden for a very long time. You rarely talk about it. You smile when people ask how you're doing. You keep moving forward. But deep inside, you've been wondering why life still feels harder than it should. Maybe you've worked your entire life and still worry about money. Maybe you've watched others move ahead while you continue carrying the same concerns year after year. Maybe you're tired of feeling like your breakthrough is always almost here, but never quite arrives. Or perhaps you've reached a point where you're asking yourself a question that you never thought you'd ask. Have I missed my opportunity? If that thought has crossed your mind, this message may be for you. Because someone listening has been having the same private conversation with God for months, perhaps even years. Not out loud, not in front of others, but during those quiet moments when it's just you and your thoughts. You've asked, God, what am I missing? Why does it feel like I'm trying so hard and getting nowhere? Is there something I'm supposed to understand before my next chapter begins? And as I prepared today's message, I felt strongly that those prayers were being acknowledged, not ignored, not forgotten, acknowledged, because your angels want you to understand something important. The obstacle may not be in front of you. The obstacle may not be your age. It may not be your circumstances. It may not even be the challenges you've been facing. Sometimes the greatest breakthrough begins when we see ourselves, our future, and our possibilities through a different lens. Divine guidance rarely arrives as a loud announcement. More often, it arrives as a whisper, a nudge, an unexpected idea, a piece of information that keeps crossing your path, a resource that appears at exactly the moment you're ready to notice it. And that brings me to something unusual. I wasn't planning to share this today. In fact, I almost skipped over it, but it kept showing up. Again and again, the feeling wouldn't leave. Every time I sat down to prepare this message, I felt drawn back to it. And eventually I realized that someone listening today may need to hear about it. Because sometimes angels don't send answers through dreams. Sometimes they place a resource directly in your path. Not to force you, not to convince you, but to give you something to explore, something to pray about, something to consider. And that's when I came across something called the billionaire brainwave. Now, before you make assumptions, this isn't about becoming someone else. And it's not about chasing wealth for the sake of wealth. What caught my attention was something much deeper. The idea that many people spend years carrying mental noise, stress, fear, self-doubt, and old beliefs that make it difficult to recognize opportunities, trust their intuition, or move forward with confidence. The focus isn't on forcing results. It's on creating greater clarity, focus, awareness, and openness to possibility. I recently heard from a woman in her early 60s who described feeling completely stuck. Not because she lacked intelligence. Not because she lacked faith. She simply felt exhausted. She said the hardest part wasn't the financial pressure. It was waking up every morning feeling like life had passed her by. Like her best opportunities were behind her. After she began exploring new ways of shifting her mindset and becoming more intentional about what she focused on each day, something started changing. Not overnight, not magically, but steadily. She felt calmer, more hopeful, more confident in her decisions. Instead of focusing on everything that wasn't working, she began noticing possibilities she previously overlooked. She described feeling like she was finally moving forward again instead of standing still. And that feeling alone changed everything. Because real transformation often begins there. When your mind becomes clearer, when your confidence grows, when fear loses its grip, when you stop expecting disappointment, when you become more willing to recognize the opportunities, relationships, and blessings already moving toward you. So let me ask you something. What if the breakthrough you've been praying for is closer than you think? What if God has already opened a door, but you've been looking in another direction? What if the answers aren't missing? What if they've simply been harder to hear beneath the stress, worry, and noise? And what if this moment is part of the answer you've been asking for? Imagine 6 months from now. Imagine waking up with a greater sense of peace. Imagine feeling excited about tomorrow instead of worried about it. Imagine trusting yourself again. Imagine recognizing opportunities before they pass by. Imagine feeling ready when your next blessing arrives. Imagine finally believing that your best chapter may still be ahead of you. For some people, this won't be information. It will be confirmation. This may be the sign you asked for. This may be the answer you've been waiting to receive. And if something about this message resonates deeply within your spirit, don't dismiss it. Don't immediately explain it away. Some signs arrive softly. Some answers appear quietly. And some opportunities are meant to be explored while they're still on your heart. If you feel guided, you can learn more about the Billionaire Brainwave through the link available in the video description and pinned comment. Take a look, pray about it, reflect on it, see whether it resonates with your spirit and your current season of life. Follow what feels aligned. And remember, your angels are not asking you to force your breakthrough. They are asking you to become ready for it. They're asking you to release the belief that it's too late. They're asking you to stay open to the guidance, opportunities, and answers being placed in your path. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Now, let's return to today's angel message, because there's something else your angels want you to know. People often assume they have endless chances to say what they feel. They assume there will always be another conversation, another moment, another opportunity. They tell themselves meaningful people will always stay close. But life teaches harder lessons than that. It reminds us that genuine hearts are rare, that emotional safety is priceless. It encourages us to notice value while it's still here, instead of waiting until distance turns it into regret. Maybe the person connected to your story has finally learned that lesson. Maybe they're understanding now what they couldn't quite grasp before. Maybe they're realizing that what you shared together was something rare, something worth holding on to instead of letting go. This message is for you, because somewhere tonight, someone connected to your journey is thinking about moments they once thought were ordinary and now sees as something more. They remember your kindness. They remember your patience. They remember the encouragement you offered during hard times. They remember feeling emotionally safe around you. They remember your steadiness. They remember your compassion. They remember the comfort of simply being near you. And suddenly they realize something important. Your impact on their life ran much deeper than they first understood. Your honesty brought them peace. Your emotional steadiness built trust. Your strength was something they leaned on more than they ever admitted. What they shared with you wasn't something easy to replace. Maybe they want you to know they've thought about you more than they expected to. Maybe they want you to know certain memories keep resurfacing without warning. Maybe they want you to know conversations they once brushed off now feel deeply meaningful. Maybe they want you to know your kindness left something behind that never faded. Maybe they want you to know your loyalty still inspires their respect. Maybe they want you to know your honesty gave them something rare, something they've struggled to find anywhere else. Listen to this because your heart needs it right now. People often chase excitement because it feels powerful in the moment. But over time, most people learn that lasting happiness comes from something quieter. Comes from trust, from steadiness, from emotional safety, from knowing someone genuinely cares without any conditions attached. Maybe the person connected to your story is understanding that now. Maybe they're realizing excitement fades, but emotional safety stays. Maybe they're recognizing that your presence brought a kind of steadiness they didn't fully appreciate at the time. Don't scroll. Your heart needs this right now. Picture someone lying awake late at night, still affected by a connection that continues shaping their inner world. They remember your encouragement. They remember how you listened without judging them. They remember your emotional wisdom. They remember the times you offered support even while carrying your own struggles. They remember feeling accepted exactly as they were. They remember feeling understood. And slowly, they come to understand what they experienced with you. It was honesty. It was trust. It was emotional safety, one of the rarest gifts anyone can be given. This message is for you because genuine people naturally inspire growth. They encourage honesty. They remind others what healthy connection feels like. They create room for vulnerability. They show that meaningful connection can feel peaceful instead of confusing. Maybe the person in your story needed exactly those lessons. Maybe they needed life experience to build that perspective. Maybe they needed a few hard seasons to finally understand what emotional maturity really means. And maybe they're finally seeing that your honesty carried more value than they ever realized at the time. Listen to this because your heart needs it right now. Maybe you've spent years wondering if anyone truly appreciated your loyalty. Maybe you've questioned whether your patience mattered to anyone. Maybe you've wondered if your kindness left any real impression at all. But genuine people always leave a mark because authenticity is unforgettable. Emotional safety is unforgettable. Real compassion is unforgettable. People remember who encouraged them through uncertain times. They remember who stayed supportive through hard moments. They remember who brought comfort instead of confusion. Those memories quietly shape how they show up in every relationship afterward. Maybe someone connected to your journey is being guided by exactly those memories right now. Don't scroll. Your heart needs this right now. Maybe they want you to know they regret the silence during moments when honesty could have brought clarity. Maybe they think about chances they let pass by without saying what they meant to. Maybe they want you to know they admire your strength. Maybe your emotional maturity earns their quiet respect. Maybe your ability to keep growing through hard things reflects a kind of inner strength that's rare. Maybe your presence shaped their emotional journey more deeply than they ever imagined it could. Listen to this because your heart needs it right now. People grow emotionally through experience and reflection. Sometimes it takes disappointment to appreciate steadiness. Sometimes it takes uncertainty to appreciate emotional safety. Sometimes it takes distance to understand what really mattered. Maybe the person connected to your story has finally gained that perspective. Maybe they're realizing your connection meant something real. Maybe they're appreciating your presence more now than ever before. Maybe they're understanding that your influence on their life never really left, because real experiences stay alive somewhere inside us. This message is for you, because real connection creates transformation. It brings unresolved feelings to the surface. It encourages gratitude, pushes people to be more honest with themselves. Maybe the person in your story is going through exactly that transformation now. Maybe they're facing feelings they once ignored. Maybe they're recognizing that your impact on their emotional journey deserves to be acknowledged. Maybe they're understanding that meaningful people should never be taken for granted, because meaningful people become unforgettable. Don't scroll. Your heart needs this right now. Think once more about your own journey. Think about everything you've come through. Think about the nights unanswered questions occupied your mind. Think about the moments uncertainty tried to shake your confidence. Yet through every bit of it, you kept growing. You found resilience. You built patience. You set boundaries. You learned self-respect. You came to understand that your worth stays constant, no matter how aware someone else is of it. That growth matters because it reflects real wisdom. It shows emotional maturity. It shows someone who understands their own significance. Maybe you've noticed small signs again recently. Maybe your dreams have felt more vivid. Maybe songs tied to meaningful memories keep showing up unexpectedly. Maybe repeating numbers like 1111, 222, or 555 keep catching your eye more than usual. Whether you see these as spiritual or simply as gentle reminders, they can still bring a sense of awareness. They remind you that transformation happens slowly, that emotional understanding grows through reflection, that people, everyone, grow at their own pace. Maybe someone connected to your journey is growing right now, quietly, in their own time. Maybe they're finally facing fears they used to avoid. Maybe they're understanding that meaningful people deserve to be appreciated. Maybe they're realizing that silence eventually becomes heavier than honesty. No matter what happens next, remember this: your worth was never up for debate. You are, and have always been, enough exactly as you are. You deserve honesty. You deserve real effort. You deserve someone who chooses you clearly, not someone who only shows up quietly in their own thoughts. Keep protecting your peace. Keep tending to your dreams. Keep honoring everything you've already overcome. And if this message found you tonight, of all the nights, maybe it's simply here to remind you that you are seen, you are valued, and you are worth all of the honesty this world has to offer. Listen to this one more time because your heart still needs it right now. There's something you should know about the way real feelings work. They don't follow a schedule. They don't arrive neatly packaged, on a convenient day, at a convenient hour. They show up in the middle of an ordinary Tuesday. They show up while someone is washing dishes, or driving home, or lying in the dark trying to fall asleep. And once they show up, they don't politely wait for permission to be felt. Maybe that's exactly what's happening right now for the person connected to your story. Maybe they were going about an ordinary day when a memory of you appeared out of nowhere and completely changed the shape of their evening. Maybe a small thing, a smell, a song, a place, reminded them of a version of themselves that felt lighter simply because you were nearby. And maybe, since that moment, they haven't been able to think of much else. Don't scroll. Your heart needs this right now. We live in a world that moves fast. People are taught to keep busy, to keep chasing the next thing, to keep their feelings quiet so they don't slow anyone down. But underneath all of that noise, most people are still just looking for the same simple thing: to be truly seen by someone, and to truly see someone else in return. That's it. That's the whole thing everyone is quietly searching for. Maybe the person connected to your journey found that with you, even if they didn't fully realize it while it was happening. Sometimes we don't recognize a gift until we've lived a little without it. Sometimes we need a bit of distance, a bit of silence, a bit of time spent with people who don't understand us the same way, before we finally understand what we actually had. Listen to this because your heart needs it right now. Maybe you've wondered quietly whether you were too much, too caring, too patient, too open with your heart. Maybe somewhere along the way, someone made you feel like your depth was inconvenient instead of valuable. If that's true for you, hear this clearly. Your depth was never the problem. Your heart was never something to shrink. The people who are meant to stay in your life will never ask you to make yourself smaller so they feel more comfortable. Real growth, the kind that actually matters, often looks like coming home to yourself after spending time trying to be who someone else needed. It looks like remembering that your gentleness is strength, not weakness. It looks like understanding that setting a boundary doesn't make you unkind. It makes you whole. Don't scroll. Your heart needs this right now. Maybe the person connected to your story is only now learning that lesson themselves. Maybe they spent a long stretch of time chasing things that felt exciting on the surface but left them feeling empty underneath. Maybe they mistook comfort for boredom and mistook chaos for passion. And maybe somewhere along that road, they finally understood the difference between something that feels good in the moment and something that feels good for the rest of your life. That's usually when people start remembering the ones who gave them peace instead of confusion. That's usually when old conversations start replaying in their mind with new meaning. That's usually when a name they haven't said out loud in a while suddenly feels louder than it has in months. Listen to this because your heart needs it right now. You don't need anyone else's permission to know your own worth. You don't need someone else's timing to decide when you're allowed to feel whole. Whatever this person connected to your story chooses to do next, whether they reach out, whether they stay quiet a little longer, whether they finally say the words they've been carrying, none of that changes what's already true about you. You are worthy of a love that doesn't hesitate. You are worthy of honesty that doesn't need convincing. You are worthy of being chosen clearly, openly, without any confusion attached to it. And if it takes someone a while to arrive at that same understanding, that's about their own journey, their own fears, their own timing, not about your value. Don't scroll. Your heart needs this right now. Sometimes life gives us little nudges. A song on repeat. A dream that felt more real than usual. A name crossing your mind for no clear reason. A feeling of being pulled toward stillness, toward reflection, toward this exact message tonight. These nudges don't always mean something dramatic is about to happen. Sometimes they simply mean it's time to pay attention. Time to notice what's shifting quietly beneath the surface of your life. Maybe tonight is one of those nudges for you. Maybe it's simply here to remind you to trust the process, to trust your own timing, and to trust that everything meant to be part of your story will find its way back to you exactly when it's supposed to. Listen to this one final time because your heart needs it right now. Whatever happens after this message, whether it feels like confirmation, like comfort, or simply like a nice thought to carry with you tonight, know that you were never asking for too much by wanting to be understood. You were never wrong for wanting honesty. You were never difficult for wanting real, steady, uncomplicated love. Keep believing that. Keep choosing peace over confusion. Keep choosing yourself, especially on the nights when it feels hardest to do. And if any part of this reached something inside you tonight, let us know with a word, an emoji, or a short comment below. It helps this message find its way to the next person who needs to hear it, just the way it found you tonight. Dear beautiful soul, this angel's message for you channel is a sacred spiritual home, created for faith, healing, and divine guidance. A place where hearts awaken and lives are gently transformed through divine messages. We warmly invite you to subscribe and stay connected, because the divine is always preparing something greater for your journey, something you are meant to receive in divine timing. If you feel moved to support this mission, You can sow your seed here for your soulmate blessings and divine love fulfillment. Your contribution is not just support. It is an energetic agreement with love, healing, and divine alignment in your own life. When you give with intention, it opens doors. Love flows more freely, happiness expands, and abundance multiplies in unexpected ways. Many believe that giving in faith activates a return of peace, joy, and emotional fulfillment in relationships and life. Whether it is $11, $22, $33, or $55, your generosity helps us continue spreading these divine messages of hope, healing, and soulmate guidance across the world. Every seed sown into this mission helps hearts heal, faith return, and souls reconnect with love. This is more than a channel. It is a movement of light, unity, and divine timing. Your support allows this sacred work to grow, touching lives that are searching for answers, comfort, and spiritual direction. We are all connected in this journey, and together we rise as one community under divine love. Let us open our hearts to the abundance that is already on its way. Amen.